let's go into relationships in terms of our unconscious effect on others. See, if you're meeting somebody for the first time, so let's say you're at a party and somebody walks in and you're single and available and you're checking out who's out there, right, in the room, you're going to have a hit about, oh, that one feels good and this one feels like whatever, and then you get to talk with them. Okay, so you don't really know each other yet, but there's always going to be some kind of impact that that person will have on you and your effect on the other person. And this is without us knowing each other. So usually it has to do with the masculine feminine play that happens between people, whether you're gay or straight, it doesn't matter, because in the gay world there's still the masculine feminine play. One is more receptive, the other one would be more assertive, and that is something that will have an impact on how a person feels when they're interacting with you. So I pulled out a 21 card spread on a person who, it's a woman, that I'm wondering, well, you know, if she were to walk into a room, because she's single and available, if she were to walk into a room, and since she's hetero, she would be interested in guys, how would the guys feel around her? What would be happening inside them? Because there are some readings that you could see that a woman may have a tendency to be much more mothering towards a guy, or a woman can be also very intellectual and not much in her body. And many times, the guys will pick up on that. They may not know that they're picking up on it. They may be just having a nice chat and everything, but absolutely feel no emotional tie at all. So it would be an interesting mental experience. And when it comes to relationships in the long run, when it comes to a romantic relationship or partnership, we want both the mental, emotional, and physical contact, stimulation, or some kind of a light being turned on, something got plugged into that, right? So in this case, I haven't seen the cards yet, so we'll see what the story is about. So download this chart so that you can keep track of even your own readings. And let's begin. Okay, so this is a 21 card spread. And this would be imagining, what would a guy feel like if they were to start chatting? So the first thing that I see is the sun. Okay, so we come into the reading with the sun card, and the sun is basically, she really comes off with an energy that makes him feel like, hey, I'll just be myself, I can be myself, right? So right away, there's this nice feeling that is going on in terms of an interaction with her, even if they don't know each other. This is like the first meeting, or just having that what they call the first contact kind of thing, what I call the first interview. All right, now the foundation of the reading, and that's here. Okay, so even though there's this feeling of, hey, wow, she's a lot of fun and I can just be myself, we have the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords has a sense of defeat, or it has a sense of, if I go and I try harder, then I might win. And that's a kind of an odd feeling to be experiencing when you're meeting somebody for the first time. So she will have to realize, if she were here listening to this reading, she would have to realize that there's something about her energy that is, on the one hand, encouraging the guy, but on the other hand, defeating him. We'll see how. How does that happen? And we can look at that from the rest of the reading. So now we take a look at the thoughts. A lot of times this is the intellectual conversation that can happen in the first meeting. So she may be one who encourages him to speak on the one hand, but on the other hand, when he starts getting stimulated, the magician, okay, I'm going to say something now, he's not being heard. Okay, so she's got to take a look at that. Am I communicating in such a way that I'm not listening enough? Because as far as he is concerned, by the time he speaks, this is the outer thoughts. By the time he speaks, he can't get a word in there enough for him to feel like she gets it, right? And I would say to her, You got to be a better listener, because he's going to try. You're going to stimulate a lot of conversation, but at the foundation of the reading, it says here, he doesn't get that he's being heard, that you're not listening to him, because he's feeling interference in terms of being able to say what he wants to say. And you can see this woman's all tied up, surrounded by swords. Emotional. Okay, this is feeling stuff, right? So this is the feeling part of the chart here. And when it comes to the feelings, even though he feels like, okay, I can just be myself, but there's this other part that comes in and says, but I can't figure her out. So here, outer feelings, outer thoughts, right? Outer feelings, outer thoughts. There's this sense of like, there's something up. I don't get it. I don't get what's going on here. And I'm kind of feeling a sense of being trapped, or like I have to limit myself somehow. And yet here it seems like I can be myself, but when I speak, I'm not being heard. So there's something going on here in relationship to when she comes into this reading, right? This woman that I'm reading about, the guy is going through this kind of stuff. She probably has no idea. So what I'm going to do is take a look at her. Well, as far as she's concerned, in relationship to the guy, she is wanting to find something better in her life. Okay, she's looking for something good, something better in her life. So she's willing to leave behind the past and go forward. And what she sees in him is, here's an opportunity for what I can get. I want. So she's looking at men in relationship to a practical thing. I want to have what I want in my relationship. I have needs and I want those needs met, and this guy should be able to give me those things. But as far as he's concerned, he came into it looking like as if, hey, we're going to have fun, but when I speak, I'm not heard. And on an emotional level, I don't feel like I really am being heard. It's kind of weird because it's the moon. The moon has a lot to do with, whoa, there's something kind of strange going on here. And the intuition then for the guy would be to say, well, I don't know about this, right? So when you go into the court cards, then you can sense what the king, right, the masculine form, the outward form of the mind, which are swords, is going to go through. So the intuition goes, I don't know, it seems fun, but something is up. The ego position having the tower, there's a sense of like, I don't know if I can be myself, who I am. And yet I came in looking like I can be myself, but I don't get that I can be myself. After all, I'm not being heard, nor am I being felt. There's something weird going on here. And so he's going, but she can be a lot of fun, right? Because right away it backs up the fun stuff, the inspiration, but by the time that he speaks, he's not being heard. She can come off with something that seems like what it is that he wants, right? So the guy goes and says, yeah, I think I want this, right? So she's pretty, she's intelligent, and yet not feeling heard mentally or emotionally, and somewhat being overwhelmed. The foundation of the five of swords, they kind of like defeated. Spiritually, feeling a lot of responsibility. Wow, this is going to be a lot of work because these got the load. Minor arcana, our personal work. Body position. Now, if he were to listen to his body sense, okay, go inside and go, what do you pick up on? The answers will become very clear. That's the body position, because it's in a place of receptivity that is saying, I think I get what's going on here. All right, so let's take a look at what does he want. Well, what would happen in this room of the first meeting with a guy is that after a while of conversing, he's going to say, I want my own space. Okay, this is a Nine of Pentacles, personal work, minor arcana. I got to have my own space. I don't need this relationship, so I want my space. When will we feel such a thing? When we're not feeling heard on an emotional or mental level. What does he need to master in this relationship? Well, he needs to master the Hierophant. Okay. What this means is that any guy that she would get involved with, who she wants a person who's going to help her, be of material and physical use, he's at a point where he's going, well, I don't know what's going on here, but I need to be by myself. But I also will have to, for this person, this is the guy's reading. For this person, I will have to look at her and see that she has a lot of needs. A lot of needs. That I got to be there for her. So what we have here is, what is the karmic lesson with this person? The guy is going to realize that I think we're going to have a lot of problems that we have to deal with, that we're going to have to look at a lot of issues that are going on. So if this guy is single and available, then where he may be coming from in the recent past is the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups means emotionally has not been engaged enough. Something isn't turning him on. But in the meeting, there will be this sense of the Five of Pentacles. These guys are outside of the church. They're wondering if this is going to even work. So he is not going to have faith. But this is going to let him know what he really wants out of a relationship. Because that's what the Strength card is about being in touch with our passion, our truth. So we walk out of the reading with, when the guy gets done, he's going to have a sense of, well, I got to juggle something else in. And this is probably not going to be the person that he would choose. So learn the 21 card spread. This is a very disturbing reading in the sense that if she were to see how she has an impact on the guy, she will realize that she tends to make him feel like he's not himself, that he doesn't belong here, that he feels kind of a little trapped, that he can't feel what's going on, that there's some kind of a sense that something's wrong, that this is going to be work, very defeated kind of feeling, because basically, she can be fun because it started off with the Sun and, seems like something that he wants, but actually the more that he talks, he's not heard. And this is going to be a lot of work, and she needs a lot of care, because his sense of, well, if you want to have your own self, your own space, your own boundaries, you're going to have to take care of her, meet her needs. And the intuition is saying, I don't know about this, but this will be a lesson for the guy to know what he really does want, because in a way, he's going to learn that this is not what he really wants. So, this is reading the cards from the point of view of not even looking at reversals, right? There's plenty of cards in here that tells us there's a lot to be cautious about. So learn this reading, learn the spread, and, study the major arcana. These are major lessons that are being taught here about do what you want, but allow yourself to notice, what are you looking at in terms of the devil? The devil is wanting something, but we know it's not necessarily good for me. And the moon, which is saying something's up. And the star. All of these are major arcana in the Strength and the Hierophant. Something is moving in this relationship, or let's say this meeting, that is saying something is not right. And then the minor arcana has to do with, how do you feel about that? So a study of the major and the minor arcana, necessary to put all of this together. But yeah, this is not a happy reading. All right. Okay, but hey, good to know, huh? All right. See you later.